Hey everybody, Alice here, and it is time for our October movie night. And I'm kind of in denial that it's October already and that we're halfway through the month already, but we are going to watch a couple of videos. We're not going to watch the entire clips for all of them, this just so we can fit a little bit more into today's session. And what I was really looking for um, were videos from our fellow Scrap Happy members. And I thought it was so fun. So we're doing 3 months of that. Last month, we featured Scrap Happy members. This month, and then in November as well, we will feature our Scrap Happy members. And then we will go back to our regular movie nights where we feature like from the wild world and cover all kinds of different people. But I think that it's so great to showcase what great talent we have within our own group and to give props to the people that are, out there creating content for us. And I'm really very proud of our Scrap Happy sisters and the things that they're doing. So we always want to share with the good things in life. So speaking of that, we are going to start with Allison Day. And we've seen videos from Allison before, but she was recently published, and I wish I had it in my hand, but I haven't got a copy of it yet. The Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. She was recently published in the magazine. I'm like, yay! So big round of applause to Allison. And she has created a video of the layout that was published. So we're going to look at her layout. Now, in the beginning of her video, she actually shows the products that she's using and how she put her kit together that she used to scrapbook with. And just for time issues today, we're going to skip past the little introduction part. So she's going to be using a sketch from Scrapbook and Cards Today, and we will watch from where she kind of starts the scrapbooking, and then we'll play through to the end so that we get to see her layout. And yeah, very exciting. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, it always does this to me here.
So I am going to start cutting my papers and figuring out a layout, and then we will go from there. The first thing I do is actually pull in a couple of pieces of cardstock, one white and one black. The two pieces weren't giving me enough contrast between the two patterns and colors, and then I wanted to sort of mat the photos on. So I'm matting the photos on the white so that they will actually be sort of brighter and stand out a little bit better. And then I use the black stock to mount my pattern paper box, which you will see shortly. So now that my 3 photos are matted, I'm going to cut this gray paper down to size. And I'm using the photo block to figure out exactly sort of how tall I want that to be. And then this is where I bring in the black cardstock to give it a mat. And it's really, honestly, like maybe 1/8 of an inch sort of around there. It's just to give it a bit of separation from that orange pattern paper. And you can see there, it just helps that whole area pop. And then I decide I need something on the background just to give it a bit of interest. So I'm adding 2 shades of mist, a black and kind of a gray brown. And then I put that aside to dry, and I take the opportunity to go through all of my bits and pieces. And yeah, I always pull out way more than I'm going to use, but that's just my process. That way I don't have to keep going back to my stash to keep looking for things. It's all right there in front of me. So while it might take a little bit of time here up front, when I'm actually scrapping, it helps my process be a little bit more streamlined because I can just grab from everything that I've pulled out, because I already have pre-sorted everything, and I know that the colors will work, and that the themes are something that will work, or I can make work. So that's what I'm doing. And that package of the pebbles, the chips, I think they called it, I didn't realize that it was a lot of homemade things. And honestly, it's been in my stash for so long and it hasn't been opened, and I think it came with one of my old Gossamer Blue scrapbooking kits. And I just assumed, because there was a leaf on the very top that you could see through the window, that there was a lot more of that sort of thing in there. But there really is only a couple of die cuts that have leaves. So I've pulled those out and added them to my stack. So I've got a lot of flowers and a lot of things with sort of oranges and greens. And now it's a matter of trying to figure out the tags that are in the sketch, how I'm going to get this to work. And I tried having them sort of hanging down from the below the photos, and it just wasn't feeling right. So now I'm trying it popping up from the photos, above the photos, and I like this much better. But those tags, those Jen Hadfield tags, are just not working. The black, while works better with the sort of overall color scheme, is too stark. It sort of jumps out too much. Cream, fighting. I've got more white on the page than I do cream, and it really stands out. So I eventually just give up on the tags altogether, and I'm working with the other bits I have. And I play around with the orientation of all these pieces for quite a while until I find what you have there on the screen, which is basically where it's up with a few changes. And then that green journaling card, the green is actually quite a different green than the greens that are in the flowers. And I eventually just put it aside. And I think that I'll pull in something else into that that tag shape, and just save that for another project. So I stuck down some flowers down at the bottom right corner, and then I realized I wanted to add this gold scalloped ribbon. So I had to pull it up again and get the gold underneath. And then as I accidentally picked up that flower and put it back down again, it ripped in half. But some extra adhesive, and then I've popped this leaf up on foam dots, and it is going to go right over top of that sort of seam where the two pieces are glued together. So you will never know unless you watch this video. So it's starting to come together for me. The layers are starting to work, and all the sort of bits that I have pulled out are starting to make sense to me. And I'm going to add gold at the top of the layout. Now that's not in the sketch, but I think for me sketches are, a starting point for sure. But then there's got to be creative license to make it your own. So that's kind of where I stand with sketches. I could have followed it to the letter, but then everybody's layout would look exactly the same, and I think that's kind of boring. So I am taking some creative license and making some changes. And I've just added a couple strips of that really thin black washi just to bring the accents through a little bit more. And getting these label shapes stuck down. I haven't stuck down that big one just yet. I've tucked it behind there, and I'm just trying to figure out what I want to layer up on top. I've got these two die cuts from the Amy Tangerine ephemera kit, and I was trying to decide which one I would use, and then I eventually go with the one that has some green lines on it, and it has the word love, I think, down at the bottom of the tag, but I've tucked that behind. I don't need that on my layout. And then the flowers that are at the top right now, I had tried them just sort of directly above those two labels. And then I realized that there was something off balance. And so by moving it over to the right, I have created a better sense of balance. And found some letter stickers. And I had because I'm on a spending freeze, my thickers are getting really picked over. So I had to search quite hard to find ones that had the right letters. And those white circle ones that you saw me pull out, well, actually, they're cream. So I really liked them and they had all the letters that I needed. But because they're cream, they were really looking odd on the layout. So I put them back, but they did sort of jog my memory that I had these gray ones. These, I think they're called typewriter font or something like that from American Crafts. So I pulled them in instead, and I've sort of had to change what I was going to make, what I was going to call this. And I went ahead and started spelling out that title black letter stickers without triple checking that I had all the correct letters. And I only had the one T, and it was a capital T, and it was just, I couldn't put a capital T at the end of that title there. And so I've had to cut it apart and turn it into a small T. But by using the sort of bottom of the capital T, the stem was too short and it looked odd. So I switched that out, and I've used one of the capital I's instead. So I'm much happier with that. And then I'm just putting some liquid adhesive on the round chipboard stickers, because I find that chipboard doesn't really stick very well on my pages unless I use some liquid glue. So, and that gave me the opportunity to actually move the title over a tiny bit, and now I'm just getting the rest of my pieces in place. And I didn't put the date, but I just put Halloween 2017, and I figure everyone knows when Halloween is, so the actual date that the pictures were taken is not as important as the year and the occasion and all that kind of stuff, and it's fairly obvious when in the year it is. And now I'm ready to get my journaling in, so I fill it in, and I've skipped over because who needs to see me write for a minute, right? But basically, I didn't treat those two journaling spots as sort of one big area and write all the way across. I treated them as two areas, so I've sort of broken my journaling into two parts. And on that oval tag, I talk about my non-love affair with Halloween. And on the other one, I talk about how my daughter has now taken over the decorating, and it works out much better for us all. She likes it and I don't, so yay. And now it's just a matter of finishing touches, getting everything stuck down. I had moved that one strip of black washi. I was right behind those black letters of the title, and it looked odd. So I had moved it fairly early on in my placing down process. And it's now up at the top right behind that cluster. And then I had an arrow up there, and you maybe saw me put down some foam adhesive behind it, and it's on a narrow strip. That came in a Simon Says stamp card kit, so I'll have to look up and see where that came from. But they're really cool. They're like really thin little strips of foam adhesive. So it's perfect for things like that. It's great for shaker cards and stuff too. Okay, so now it's finishing touches time. Time to get those buttons out. So I have pulled out 6 buttons, and I'm going to put 2 in each of my sort of clusters. And I want to use some black thread to, I mean, they've got adhesive on the back, so they would stay, but I want to finish them off, I guess, with the black thread. So I'm just finalizing placement, and then I'm going to poke all my holes. And top tip, these have adhesive on the back, and if I'd known what was going to happen to my paper piercer and my needle, I would have taken the time to either remove that adhesive or make it not so sticky or something, because wow, did it gum up my needles there. So it gave me a fair amount of issues when it came down to actually sewing the buttons on, because every time my needle passed through, it just got coated with all of the glue and whatnot. And then making the threads sort of stick to the back of the layout with a little bit of the black and white washi tape that doesn't actually make it on the front of the layout, but it was helpful on the back to keep my threads in place. So now my sewing is all done, but I want to add a little bit more into these areas, and I reached for my enamel dots. I'm just trying to find what colors I want. So I've auditioned some orange and some brown. I didn't like the brown. I went hunting for some black, and I decided that that's a good way to add more of that sort of accent color. And initially I tried a larger enamel dot and it was overpowering, but a small black enamel dot in each group works wonders. And then I'm also adding a couple of orange enamel dots into each cluster, just for some fun. And that is it, my finished layout. So there you go. I think I did pretty well following the sketch, but also making it my own. And I was really, really happy to use all of those Teresa die cuts, because they've been kind of, I pull them out and then I put them back, and I've been doing this for a while. So getting so many on this layout makes me super duper happy. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again soon. Bye.
Okay, I'm back. And let's open up my chat box. Way to go, Allison Day, says Deidre. I know, it's so great, and it's getting published in the magazine. So awesome. So I noticed a few things that she did that I thought were quite noticeable and really good tips. For starters, she gathered all of her things together before she started. And she kind of said, like, she mostly, once she brings everything out, she pretty much just makes things work. And I think that sometimes when we're in the middle of scrapbooking, we kind of get bogged down in trying to find the perfect embellishment or the perfect paper. And that it's a nice reminder to see someone say, like, actually, there's a lot of things that could work. Sometimes we just want to use what we've got and make it work. I kind of did a little discussion on the cream versus white and trying to make those work on the page and not really loving that. I thought that her little trick with the letter T, making the thickers stretch just a little bit further so that you can get more words out of that, was great. With a small T, sometimes you can actually take a small F and cut the little top part off to make a T. So that can be really good too. So just another little trick, because I stretch thickers on a regular basis. I have plenty of them, but still it's like, nope, I need this alphabet and I just need that one more letter. So I think, yeah, it's good to get creative with your letters. I liked that she talked about how she had ripped that flower by accident, and then she was able to go back in and like put it together, but then kind of covered the seams so that you'd never be able to tell. Because, you know, things happen when you're scrapbooking, and sometimes if you have a little mishap, it doesn't have to be like, oh, the end of it, right? I thought that, did you notice the way she used that thin black washi? She had like a little strip of it underneath the photos and a little strip of it above. And I just thought it was really great because it centered her, not centered, it kind of grounded and tied together her little embellishment clusters. And I was like, ooh, it was just a good little trick to be like, okay, there's an embellishment that stems out of this section, and there's an embellishment cluster that comes out of this section. And I thought that was really great to see the layers and how you can really build those nice embellishment clusters the way she did. That layout had lots of room for story, which I really appreciate on a layout. Like, I love really artistic and pretty layouts, but I'm always struggling with those because I find that I need to get more of my story onto the pages. So I love seeing layouts that have some good room for story. And then she did some great embellishing. And I thought that the tip for the adhesive behind the buttons that she'd used and sewing them. Could anybody else relate? Has anybody actually tried sewing through adhesive, especially like a really sticky adhesive like you would use to stick down a button? I am not the world's greatest sewer. We know that, but I was feeling her pain at that moment. I thought this was a really great example of taking a sketch and adapting it, making it work. It wasn't exactly the sketch, but it was really good. Heather said it is hard for the adhesive thing. Yeah. Definitely the kind of thing where if you can like put a little stitching through your button and then glue that button with the stitching down might be better. Yeah. Yeah, so lots of good takeaways from that layout. Congrats to Allison on getting published in the magazine. No wonder they chose your layout. It's totally gorgeous. Okay, next up, I wanted to do a short clip from Emma Clark with Mind the Scrap. So Emma runs a kit club, and her kit club, she actually provides a physical kit. You subscribe, you get a physical kit. Emma is in the UK, so if you're not in the UK, you are paying shipping for international and stuff like that. But you know, she's got that all worked out and she can take care of it. And I do know that we have had members of Scrap Happy members that have subscribed to her kit, and they are always full of gorgeous things. So one thing that she does at the end of the month is she does a little Kill Your Kit session. She has lots of live videos. There's challenges in her group, so that's really fun too. But in this video, it's her September Kill the Kit. She kind of shows what she has left in her kit, and we're actually going to online and live crops. There you go, says Natalie. And so, yeah, because she does in-person crops, and sometimes she does online with her live group and stuff too. So it's kind of fun. And with this, we're going to skip past the little section where she shows what's left in her kit, but we're going to let her show us all the layouts that she was able to create in a month. And this wasn't a load month. This was just a regular non-load month. And she is a very prolific scrapbooker. She has gorgeous style, and I thought it would be fun to have a little peek at the layouts that Emma made in September. So that is what we're going to do now. Let's see here. September, Kill the Kit. There we go. Hold on a second. I need to close this window and find the right one. There we go.
I'll probably end up just giving it to the girls and they'll do their own thing with whatever they want to do with it. So now let me run through the pages that I did last month really quick. I won't keep you very long. These are another very long videos. So this is the first one that I made whilst I wanted to play around with the masks that were in the mixed media kit. So I just did lots of white blobby bits up the side, and this picture of Lola from, I don't know if it was last Halloween or the Halloween before at school. So that worked well with all the orange and the pink and the lime. So I threw that on there. That's the first one. These aren't necessarily in any order of how I did them. They're just how I find them in the box. Then we have this one, a nice simple one of Elsie in the sand. She wasn't very happy. As you can see by the look on her face, Michael had buried her whilst we were waiting for Lola and Paul to come from somewhere. That's number 2. And the third one, playing with the masks and stamps and stuff, I think. That was them. And I had these little, I think I did this one at Crop, and had little strawberries given to me. Oh, that feather paper. You love the feather paper. And as it happens, I need the feather paper on it. I have ordered, I think I've got them, more of the feather paper in shop. I think I've got them. You know what I'm like? I don't remember. I might have them downstairs to go and shop this weekend. Who knows? everybody was after extra sheets of that feather stuff. So if I've got any left, if it is at all downstairs, if I've got any left after crop, I will put those on shop in case you're interested in some extra sheets. And we'll have this one of when we were at, where were we? Avon Valley. I started Shemelle Lane's Learn Something New Every Day, which I've now continued in my Bujo, Learn Something New Every Day, but just in note form of what I've learned. But the first page for the first day. So I've got a Q&A, and I have, I don't know where it's gone. There was a little tag. It's probably fallen down. Yeah, there it is. Tag. With stuff where I'm at for September. I really should put some tape under there so it doesn't keep falling off. So that should go in there. I quite like that one. Just lots of layers of the big papers. I love making this one. I can't remember who had done one like this on the group, but I really enjoyed making this one similar. Oh, well done, Donna. I loved typing up bits and just the simplicity of it all. But I really like that one. And we have more feathers, so I just went with the greens and the blues in this on this page. So cut the feathers out separately, added some more of these gorgeous black words, and then picked out some of the brownie bits to match the photograph. Another white one. I do love the white ones. Just a few little bits of paper, embellishments, the gorgeous blackness again. Just nice simple ones. That's where I'm at the moment. Another mask one. This is where I did the, I think it was the inks that I watered down and used with the brush. I don't think this one's finished. Or maybe it is and it's just very small. This is while we were at Vonnie's. We were having a snowball fight. It's very cool. All the circles. Well, this started my circle fetish, let's say. So I think I did this live with you guys, maybe. So all the circles across, then I just hand a couple of the flowers off. It could do with a little bit of journaling, really, but I've not put that on there yet. This is definitely my favourite, my most favourite of the month. And that's that one. That's all the circles. And I did stitch them on, but I don't think actually, this wasn't a kit. This was just scraps, but it's in my pile because I did it last month. That's why. I shouldn't be showing this one really because it's not in the kit. But it's scraps, so I didn't use anything else. Just things that are my scrap box. But I love scraps because you can do things like this with them. And just a random load of alphabets. Okay, this one definitely was kit. And this was when we were at a wedding party. Although we weren't invited to. Yep. So just lots of layers, different bits. I used the masks in a different way just by drawing inside of them. And then the journaling went up and around the top. Second to last, we're almost finished. Just a plain one with ink splashes down the middle and then the horizontal paper layers across the centre. Again with another couple of these bits. I just love how these papers work for so many different things. More circles on this one. So we had the frames and little bits out of the embellishment packs. So I used those and then the masks of the rings. I did those just with the ink and water again. And that was that. That is all of them. Most of them are pretty simple. And most are white. So I didn't use a lot of the kit this month, I think. I do need to do more. Now that everything's business-wise, I've just got to wait for the rest of the kit stuff to come in before I can pack that. So I've got about a week. I've got a week where I can just scrap, I think. Although next week I'm busy. And we're at what collection are the black words from? Let me have a look for you, if I can see. What month was it? October? They are, it might be Goldenrod. goldenrod thicker phrases, I think. But I think I have some of them left. I'm not sure if they were in the scrapbook kit or if they were in the embellishment kit. Oh, they were Vicky Booten footnotes, apparently. Well done, Amy. You know more than I do. Right, that's me done anyway. I've got to go and put the girls to bed. Paul's gone out. So I have to go and do all of my mummy things. And I will see you all on Sunday for the Scrapple more of the October, aren't we? October kit. This year is just going crazily fast. Right, thank you all very much for joining me. I will see you all soon. Love you lots. Goodbye.
Okay, so Heather's off to school, but yeah, so while we were looking at those layouts, I was taking some notes kind of about the style of scrapbooking that Emma does. So she showed what, like 10, 11, 12 layouts. I was trying to keep track, and then, you know, I'm getting wrapped up in watching the layouts and looking at them. So I kind of forgot to actually keep track as I was counting. So I know it was over 10 for sure. But when we look at something like that, where people are showing off multiple layouts, there's definite things that we can pull out to look at a person's style. And lots of times people have a hard time determining what their own style is. So these are some things that if you're struggling to say, oh, well, this is my style, this is what I like, and this is what I feel really comfortable with, or this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to do more of, then I would suggest putting some of your favorite layouts together in a stack and really having looked to see what some of the commonalities are. So just looking at Emma's, we can look at, she definitely loves bright colors. That is a huge thing for her. She does layouts mostly with one photo, not entirely. Some of them had more. And if she uses more, they tend to be smaller photos. She usually uses thickers for her titles. She often includes journaling. Like, it wasn't on every layout, but it looked like mostly she puts journaling on every page. She uses a wide variety of designs for her layouts. So you'll notice that sometimes her pictures were at the top with kind of a centered kind of column design. Sometimes she's got something in the corner. Sometimes she's across the top with her journaling at the bottom. She had a wide variety of different styles. And I think that kind of shows part of her personality. She doesn't want to just do the same thing over and over. She's really trying to mix it up and challenge herself with different layout designs. Her layouts tend to go towards the artistic side. So she's using things like masks and paint and sprays, and she's using some of those artistic elements. She tends to prefer whites and not creams, and she does like to do white backgrounds. That doesn't say that that's what she only does, but she definitely tends to go in that direction. Like, we noticed that she did some with patterned paper. She did some on black cardstock. She had several different kinds. So it wasn't like it was all white, but if we're looking at a general theme, she's tending towards that. And then she herself mentioned that right now she was like kind of, what did she say? She didn't say obsessed. She said she was totally into circles right now. And I thought that was a really fun observation, because we can go through these different obsessions where we're obsessed with circles at this current time, and several of her layouts had circles. And then maybe, as you move forward, it might be arrows, and you're just putting arrows on everything. I mean, arrows all the time. But, some people go through phases where, something like that is a recurring theme. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your style. It could just be a current theme and something that you're enjoying and you're using a lot of. So I thought that was really fun too. I thought that she, like, while she's a prolific scrapbooker, I thought that she was making beautiful layouts, and it was really fun to see that and to have a look, and such a great chance to kind of see somebody's style. So if you're looking at your own style, you can definitely look at something like that. Okay, we have one final video today, and it is from a Scrappy Kathy, or Kathy McElfresh, or McElfresh. I said it wrong. I did it wrong again, Kathy. I'm sorry. Kathy McElfresh, and she is newer to creating videos online, but she is definitely stepping up her game. And this video is called Get Messy with Scrappy Kathy. So we're gonna watch this one, and yeah, I love her creative, messy techniques, and she's going to show us some fun stuff. So we can use some of the observations from Emma's to look at Kathy's style too. So let's have a look here. Share. Oh.
Okay, so I've got the Q&A.
Wrong one.
And I have...
Sorry, guys. I'm good at this, you know. Not my mail. It's just hiding. Okay, here we go.
Hi everyone, this is Scrappy Kathy. I'm going to today show you a technique using spray inks, and as you can see I've got them all lined up kind of in rainbow color order, along with some Heidi Swapp Color Shine in gold, which I think adds something to almost every project you do. First I'm going to show the layout that that kind of brought the request or the desire to do this video. This is one where I was kind of going for some, I apologize for the video orientation. My tripod and camera holder broke right as I was starting this video, and so I'm making do with a little clip that's attached to my OttLite. So things are a little wonky. Anyway, this is a layout where I used actually the simplest of spraying techniques, but you can kind of see I went rainbow color order. And along the way, what gave it some of its character is some of the bottles had been closed up so long they built up pressure and wouldn't spray. So I opened them, I shook them up, which increased the pressure, by the way. I opened them up, and as I opened them up, they sprayed on their own where they wanted to go. So that's the explanation for this nice cherry red blotch up here. So I went with it, and I actually love it. So we'll move on there. This is another layout I did. Also the technique, I guess probably a technique I'm going to show you today, I probably ought to point that out. I used, the ink was still damp. I pressed some texture paste through a stencil so that it would pick up the color. And as you can see, the stencil impression is very subtle because it has kind of picked up the color of the background. And you can see even here on the red building, even though there wasn't much ink there, it picked up what was there and kind of spread it around. So it gave it some contrast. So that's kind of an interesting technique to use, and I'll show you where I use it again. Here I used just kind of the blues and purples and pinks, fuchsias to do this one, and here's where I added the Heidi Swapp gold color shine. I did this one with where I sprayed the colors in the background, and then I used this heart stencil and sprayed Heidi Swapp gold color shine through that. and you can kind of see some heart impressions. Let me see if I can find where they are. And by the way, when I blotted it with a paper towel roll, it left the impression in the gold, and it kind of spread the gold over onto the color, which I liked, so I'm going to try that again. Again, when I did the texture paste through the hearts, I moved the pencil a little bit, and that gave me the hearts. There's a gold heart, there's a pink heart, and the pink heart, I was wondering if any of the gold color shine would come up through the texture paste, and it did not. So, so that was an experiment and the result. So that's those are two of the latest that I've done. I'm gonna just quickly go through my this particular art journal book, and every background in it, there are other applications of paint and texture on top, but all the backgrounds in here were done with spray inks. Some of them messier than others, and like I said, there's a lot of paint that's going through, and I have some empty pages. This one was one I used the oranges and reds and pinks, and then I went over with white. I have no idea what I'm going to do. This one actually was a painted background. It was spray ink and ink sprayed through a sense. This was also done with ink almost entirely. Even the black was done with ink. This page was done with ink. That one too. That one I'm trying to get to one. This is one I just did I used one color. Let's see. It is crushed grape, I guess. And then I used stamping and stuff. This is the one I wanted to show you because it's most like the technique I'm going to try for today. This one was inked with some pretty heavy sprays, starting with the turquoise and teal, and then going to the fuchsia, and then going to the pink and the orange. And it kind of goes from those cool colors to the hot colors. And I have no idea what I want to do with this page. This shows that the paint that I used through the stencil kind of picked up some of the color. You can see, I'm sorry that the light isn't great when you get up close. I've done another stencil with some shiny, glitter paste, I guess, in some areas, but I haven't finished this one. I've scanned it and used it as a background for layouts, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with the real page. There's another one with ink. A lot of these others have had lots done on top of the ink, but they all started with spray ink, pretty much. So that's an idea. You can use it for layouts. In this one, I'm intending to use the page that I'm making as a layout background. So I'm going to start. The idea that I have is that I will use one or both of these stencils. One of them has a radiating pattern, kind of with straight lines. The other is a radiating pattern. Okay, so I really apologize, but I got a phone call right at the abrupt end there, and I went ahead and did the technique, and it came out looking like you see here. I used washi tape to make the straight lines and sprayed each color in a circle and did the one stencil on top, and it seems to be picking up the color as I had hoped. I had a whole long explanation of this, and no technique process to show you. So I'm going to stop this. This is an example. This shows what I did, and the steps are that I used washi tape and put a strip of washi tape, sprayed some color, moved the washi tape, sprayed some more color, let the second color overlap the first, and all the way around with the pink, red, orange, yellow, green, and then I filled in with some cherry red here. Then I used this stencil to do the texture paste, and then I overlaid this stencil and sprayed the Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. So this is what that came out looking like. It's still kind of wet, so I'm going to put that away. I'm going to stop the video now, and I'm going to come back and show you a completely different, I'll show you the same technique, but with something that hopefully will look a little bit different. All right, welcome back to part 3 of the messed up video. I'm going to go quickly with this. I found a stencil that I thought offered me a chance at a different kind of technique. It's a three-part stencil actually. It has the background of the houses here, and then it has the detail of the houses here, and then it has some like sunshines and clouds. And so I'm going to very quickly mask off the top part by with just some plain paper, and I'm going to use my spray ink on the, move things up a little bit so that you can see them better. Again, working with my not ideal situation here. So I'm going to try to get this where you can see everything. So I'll turn it at an angle here. You can see that the top part of the stencil is masked off. We'll use that later, and we'll do some different masking. But for right here, I'm going to take, I always start with fuchsia, it seems. So I'll do some spraying there, and I'll then go to a bubble gum pink, maybe, and let that overlap on the next house. I'll go for some cherry pie red, and then for some postbox red there, and I'll make the last one kind of orange. Okay, so I'm going to use my paper towel to blot that. Just to make it's not soupy, and it's kind of interesting the way it's turned out there. So now I'm going to move the stencil down to the detail and try to overlay those properly. If they're not perfect, that's okay, because even being near the inks, it's going to pull up some of the color. So I'm going to do here some, this is, by the way, Liquitex Flexible Model Paste, and I find that it pulls the color up better than others. I had a more rigid texture paste, for lack of a better word, and it kind of tended to dry a little chalky and didn't pull up color very much. And I kind of liked the color thing. I may add some of those clouds. I'm trying to get out of here, and so this is the least painful watching experience you can have. So that's what it looks like now. I'm expecting the the white contrast to lessen over time, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this particular layout other than maybe try to keep it from getting some unwanted colors on it. And but we'll see. I'll post whatever I do with it. I did not use any Heidi Swapp gold on this. I may, if I add the sunshine there, I may try to experiment with some gold, but that won't be in the video. And I will turn you loose now. The challenge, obviously, is to spray with reckless abandon any inks that you have that you want to play with. I tend to mostly pull the tops out of the inks and splatter them down in little drops. It's been a while since I've sprayed, so I've enjoyed what I've been doing with the spraying lately, and hope you will too. If you don't have spray inks, smoosh some watercolors on the paper and see if you can get texture paste, white paint to pick up the color. If you don't have any stencils, create some texture with a comb or a fork. Just do something different with inks or paints or textures, and let's see what you come up with. I'm sure you'll come up with something gorgeous. Bye.
Okay. Okay, there we go. That was, I just love that. Like, she showed so many different samples of things that she played with. And for me, when she flipped through her little art book, I thought that was just wonderful because you could really see how she plays and how she really gets into learning how her products work, right? And she herself said that, this was an accident. I didn't really do this on purpose, but I really like how this turned out. And then I tried this and I experimented. And it's those little happy accidents and that experimentation that gives us the confidence with our art supplies so that we can go and put those things onto our layouts. And I think that she had some really great examples of that. I can feel her pain when she said that the phone had rang, because that has happened to me in the middle of filming videos before, and the phone rings and that's the end of your video. And so, top tip for filming videos, put your phone on airplane mode before you film. I really liked that house overlay stencil. I thought it was really neat the way it had like the backgrounds, and then you could add some of the details, and how she had used the texture paste. And like what she was saying is like the texture paste, it won't just stay white. It's because you're putting the texture paste on the wet ink that you've sprayed, it kind of pulls some of that ink up and it kind of turns color. So that's really cool. If you let it dry and you do that, generally that texture paste will generally stay white. So it's cool the way you can play with the same materials and get different output with that. Yeah, and then her final advice was to spray with reckless abandon. And I just loved that phrase. It was such a good, I thought it was such great advice. And she's like, and if you don't have this, try this. And if you don't have this, try this. And it was just like, just get out there and try something different. So for our next movie night, we plan to feature some more Scrap Happy sisters. So if you or one of the other Scrap Happy gals has a YouTube channel and, you think we should have a look, or even just share it and we can decide for ourselves if we want to have a look. We have a post up in our Scrap Happy group on the Facebook group, or you can send me a message to support@scraphappy.org, and we'd love to have a look at some fellow YouTube channels and see what we can share in the month of November. And yeah, I think it's really fun. So here today we've seen some Halloween-y theme stuff. We got a little bit messy. We analyzed styles. And I think that, yeah, this is just a lot of fun. And we have some good stuff happening with our Scrap Happy sisters. So it's great to see it. Okay, I am going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Really enjoyed this. And I will see you soon. Let's see, our next event will be Happy Hour on the 23rd at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Yay! Yes, another movie night. And we try to move the times of our events around so that we can catch some people in different time zones live. So we'll see how that works next time. Okay, talk to you later, everyone. Bye.